Hey, what's going on, movie lovers? I'm Jeff.
I'm Brian.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah, Kyle's not here. Yes, Brian, this is your third or fourth time. I think this is the first time with kind of our new setup. We got cups, got the new camera.
Very nice.
It's been a while. So you're back. We did, my fourth episode, I think, was Devil's Rejects.
Yes. Yep.
And I was listening to it the other day, and it was a little rough. It's gotten much better.
In the beginning stages, for sure.
Yeah. Not as bad as Millennium. That will never show. But yeah, it was a good conversation, but you could just tell like it was not where it needed to be.
Right.
So I'm glad to have you back for the first of the films, House of a Thousand Corpses, 2003. Real quick, the Rotten Tomato scores on this. The critic score is 19%.
Which I find to be utterly ridiculous.
And the audience score is 65%.
That's one of the biggest variances that I've seen of all the ones that you've done.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest ones.
Right.
And one of the lowest critic scores, actually. I think the lowest one we've done is like 9%. Somewhere around there. Stay Alive.
Oh.
Might have even been lower than that.
Horrible.
But this is down there.
Yeah.
And this is my second time watching it. I'd seen it once before, but I watched it again last night for this. And not at all what I remembered.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen this probably a dozen times.
So why don't you go ahead and start? This is kind of your bread and butter.
Yes.
So like, what was your first experience? How'd you get into Rob Zombie films? Like, what's so appeasing to you?
Well, first of all, I loved Rob Zombie far before he got into filmmaking. It was back when he was, heading White Zombie, and then when he did his own stuff.
Dragula.
I love it. I love it, and you can tell that this is pulled right from the mind of a lunatic, which is
right. Yeah.
So when this came out, I mean, there was a little bit of hype before it that I can remember. So I was really eager to see it, and I think I went to the theater to see it for the first time.
Really?
And it's just crazy. It was exactly what I expected coming from him. Seeing some of the footage from some of his concerts and stuff, he did some pretty gory, pretty crazy shit on there. So yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I actually saw him in concert.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yep. It was the best show I've seen. He's got that old school vibe, smoke, lights, fireworks, the whole deal.
Gaudy.
Fucking awesome.
I hate you right now.
It was fucking great.
I bet.
And he did his whole set without playing Dragula. And then he like, okay guys, thank you for coming out. We'll fucking see you next year. Like, what the fuck? And then he's like, I'm just fucking with you shitheads. And then he did Dragula. I was like, oh my god.
That's gnarly.
It was a good show. But you kind of remember like seeing it in the theater? Like, what was that like? Was there a lot of people? Do you remember? Or?
No, I don't. And I don't even remember it now. I could have my movie switched up because maybe this wasn't even shown in theaters. I have no idea. It was. I can't remember anything about it. It's been way too long. I just remember being excited to go see it. And,
it's only 15 years ago.
Well, I can't. It blows my mind that it's been that long.
I know. 15 years.
I'm old.
I was 10.
I was not. I was not 10.
All right, so I want to run through the cast real quick because I think this is a great cast. There's a lot of people who have been in films on the podcast that we've done. So of course, writer, director, Rob Zombie, you did both. It always tickles me when guys like this are writers, because as an aspiring writer, it's a art form, and knowing that somebody, I mean, like he's a music writer,
right? But
to do screenwriting, like that's a whole different thing. And I just love when
clearly people comes from a creative mind,
yeah,
like yours.
It's like Stallone,
right?
How can he do all of it?
Right.
You wouldn't think of him as a writer, but
people like that don't need time to sleep.
Right. No kidding. So the cast, of course, Sid Haig as Captain Spaulding, Bill Moseley as Otis.
Oh my God.
Sherry Moon Zombie as Baby. Walton Goggins. He's in it briefly. I love Walton Goggins. Chris Hardwick.
Which blows my mind. Even back in 2003, having been a fan of Singled Out, which I first saw Chris Hardwick on.
Singled Out.
Yeah,
that's a reach.
Way back in the day. So I didn't even recognize him. He looks so different than the Chris Hardwick from then and from now.
And now.
It's like he added weight and hair and beard and all this weird stuff. And
it doesn't even sound like him, really.
No, but if you pay, Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
Once I paid attention, and it's like, okay. And by the way, his character in this movie, he's a total douche in this. Right? Such a dick to his girlfriend.
He's the only reason that all this happened.
Yeah, it's Chris Hardwick's fault.
But we all know Jerry. Like, we all have a Jerry.
Right.
Fucking assholes. But you still hang out with them. You don't know why.
Yep.
And then Rainn Wilson. Mm-hmm. He's also kind of in it briefly.
Yeah,
he gets killed off pretty quick. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Rainn Wilson.
He does leave an impression in your mind, though, as Fish.
No
Fish boy.
shit. No shit.
He's as real as you want him to be.
It's not real. It's not real. This is pretty good work. Mm-hmm. He blended those two together.
Rainn Wilson, I'm sorry, bud. Sorry.
I wonder how that shot went. Like,
yeah, the prosthetic Rainn Wilson face. Right. I bet he was like right behind Rob Zombie, just tickled shitless watching it. Like, right. Oh my God, look at me.
So we have done Devil's Rejects, and I kind of want to touch back on that.
Right.
I think we'll kind of bounce back and forth because there's a lot of similarities, and there's also like completely different like tonal shifts, and kind of this is more supernatural.
That's my feeling.
That's more of thriller.
I feel like it's two completely different movies.
It seems like it.
They could both be watched separately and not together, and you wouldn't feel like you were missing anything. Maybe you miss a bit of the Driftwood backstory, but the Dr. Satan is completely
out
individual to this movie. Well, the second one is more a gritty, real to life if you're a serial killer type situation, which I like because the end of this movie for me gets a little weird. Well, it gets a lot
very weird.
Like it goes from twisted and sadistic to supernatural, like you said, and that's nothing like the second one. So yeah,
it goes from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Pan's Labyrinth real quick.
Right, and I can't think of any other movie where there's such a difference between the first and the second, or whatever. It's just completely different.
Yeah. It's the only thing that ties them together really is just the three characters that appear as the Devil's Rejects,
right?
And even they change.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spaulding kind of remains kind of the most similar,
and he's barely in. He's
barely in this one.
The 10 minutes at the beginning, and then at the end, and a little snippet in the middle where he's talking to the cops. That's basically yeah. But
he's fucking steals the show.
Oh, he does.
He's always fantastic.
He's great. Scares the crap out of me.
He's great. And there's something that I like more about Devil's Rejects is Bill Moseley's character of Otis. Mm-hmm. I like him in Devil's Rejects. He's fantastic. Like, he's good in this movie, but he's not the same kind of. It seems like a different person almost.
It's almost like this movie. It's like a theater. It's like a stage.
Very much.
And it's more like theatrical and almost like the costumes and all that shit. And the second one, like I said, it's more like, this dude scares the shit out of me because he's this greasy guy that lives in the trailer park right down the road.
Right. Yeah, he's like a real person.
I don't want him to make me into a fish boy.
So. Right. It's weird. Yeah. Like, we talked about this on the Devil's Rejects episode, but I had seen that one first. Mm-hmm. And so I watched these out of order, which, I mean, we kind of talked about it. It doesn't really matter.
So that's probably why you feel the way you feel about this one, you see, because I probably like them equally, but most people would say that they greatly prefer the second one.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed this one. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, if it was one of those nights and I had to choose, I'd be like, let's watch Devil's Rejects.
I would too. I'm not gonna lie. Man.
But this one's, I don't even know how to explain it.
Strange as hell.
Strange.
It's super strange.
I love the way that it's shot, though. I love kind of how it was made and the way that it looks, and it was just different.
That's I have cinematics right here. Cinematics were awesome. The cuts to the sepia tone with the creepy music in the background, which happens basically every 3 minutes in the movie.
Right.
And they'll cut to something. It's just the combination of the music and the psychedelics and the sepias, and it just gives you that cheesy, almost like a grindhouse, like a
very much
vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Very much. Yeah. I definitely, and there's a great, I don't know if you want to do like favorite scenes real quick.
Sure.
But I mean, there's a lot of great stuff, but something that stuck with me that almost feels like it didn't belong in the film, mm-hmm. but if you would have put in something else, you'd been like, wow, that was a really good shot. When the sheriffs come to the house and Otis goes around to the back. He's like, I'm gonna get these fuckers, and he goes around. He shoots the dad. He falls in the puddle, and then Walton Goggins. He's that whole scene where he's holding him at a gunpoint. He turns around, gets on his knees, and then there's that shot of him holding the gun to his head
for 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's like, and it kind of swirls around really slowly, and just kind of focuses on that. And then when you're like, that paused the movie?
I know,
what the fuck happened?
Here comes the plume of smoke out of his head.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, boom. Like, that's probably my favorite, if it's not like my favorite scene, but like my favorite shot of the film is.
It's probably the deepest, the least, weird.
It's just, it doesn't feel like it belongs in this film.
It says a lot without saying anything, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, if you would have put that in Devil's Rejects, it would have fit so much better, and like, I don't know, it just would have made more sense.
Right.
Which, I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
I
went a different route with my two favorite scenes are.
I know your favorite scene, I bet.
Well, my favorite scene is really close to the beginning. The first time that you see Otis Driftwood, okay, and he's talking to the girls, and he says, and this is kind of a long quote, but he says, "My brain is frozen, locked. I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproduction and this thick incrustations dying on the surface." And it's like, oh my god, this dude is completely crazy.
Fucked up.
And just the way he presents that, it's like, okay, this dude's gonna be awesome. And yes, my second scene is when Baby catches the little rabbit at the end, and she's like, shoot, Santa baby.
God, that fucking laugh, my God, 4 times. 4 times in a row. It was fucking off.
It gives me the shivers, and it makes me want to ask you on a date at the
same time. It's like, I don't remember who I was talking to this about, but we're talking about, oh man, Rona Mitra or somebody like that. And it's like, she kind of scares you a little bit. Like, she could kick your ass. Yeah. But you kind of like it.
No, I love it.
At the same time. Yeah. And it's like, Sherry Moon Zombie's got that, where it's like, fuck you up, but you're like,
okay. It's worth it.
Okay. Like, I'm ready.
She scares me a lot, and I love her.
Exactly. So the times that we do see Captain Spaulding, I love the opening credits. I always think it's really cool when they put the credits in front of a film, kind of gives you that old nostalgic feeling.
That's exactly what he was going for, I think,
and the cool Grindhouse logo. House of 1,000 Corpses. I love that whole intro. And then you get into the actual film, and that first scene with the kids going through the the murder house with Captain Spaulding. Yeah. If I hadn't picked that other scene as my favorite scene, that scene would have been, because it plays, it's not just creepy and cool, but it plays towards the end of the film too, where she's in that murder house and she's going through all the rooms and stuff, and it's like she's on an amusement ride or whatever.
Kind of. I think, you know what? Now that you said that, that's I like how you tied that together, because I never really saw it like that. But yeah, you're right.
I loved it.
Gets to that corridor that widens before her perception, and it's all the dead people.
And then she goes into one room, and it's fucked up people eating, and then she goes to the other room, Dr. Satan there.
Excuse me. It's the experiments that he was explaining there during that ride about how he can make superhumans out of whatever. I think this is the end of the movie, but I would like to point out, if I was that girl and I got to that long hallway, I would just stop running and start. I'd find something sharp and just get it over with, because you know what's coming. You know? Anyway.
Yeah, she almost made it.
Well, but she didn't, though.
But she did it in the end.
I think at the end of the day, that's what Otis wanted. Is he got off more on the fear that came out of them, and just the thought of her getting that sniff of freedom, only to have it snatched back away from her. I think that's what got off on the most.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that plays a lot into Devil's Rejects as well.
Yep.
And Spaulding always catches these bitches. Like, he's always in the perfect place at the perfect time, every single time.
Yep.
I was just about to say something about that, but you talked about catching the bunny.
Yeah.
Like the person in a bunny suit. If you guys are watching this and you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're watching it. But it's very creepy. They dress them in like bunny suits. It's very much. It's got that weird. Donnie Darko vibe with the creepy bunny. Why you wear that bunny suit?
Humans are like scared little rabbits.
Right.
Run, rabbit. Run, rabbit.
But as that chick's running, if you've ever been in one of those like onesie Halloween costumes, it's just scratchy and heavy and hot. And I'm like, the first thing I would do is rip that fucking hat off, and like I'd get in run mode. Right. I can't imagine running so far with that shit. Like that's just gonna be miserable. That's all I could think about.
I think they turned your brain into vanilla pudding at that
point. Right. You know what I know. It's just as I was watching that the whole time, I was just like, take the fucking thing off.
Now I picture you in a bunny suit ripping it off and running
exactly.
away. Down. You're like, I got
yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I would do. Yeah, fuck that bitch. Yeah. I'm way faster. And then kind of that the Captain Spaulding scene, and he's explaining to Captain Spaulding about the book, and he goes, well, you know, when you ever drive across country or whatever, he's like, but I don't. And I'm like, you damn near will in the sequel. They drive all over the place. Yeah, right. And it's kind of, I don't know if that was supposed to be kind of a callback in Devil's Rejects, because I don't know we don't really know how far they drive. But they're all over the place.
Excuse me, I'm coming off a cold here, so
that's fine.
Yeah, because like the Devil's Rejects picks up literally right where that House with 1,000 Corpses ends, whereas the next morning, I always got the vibe that it was basically the next morning that the cops were showing up and they're on the run. So I don't think it was ever planned out. You know, maybe that was a slight hint to as what was to come. Or something, but I feel like it just picked up right where it left off, because there's the brother of the cop that that comes and.
God, I love William Forsythe in the sequel, and the sheriff in here, they could be brothers for sure. And I've only seen this twice.
Okay, so after they're done at Captain Spaulding's, right, and they do the little murder ride and stuff, the girls are upset.
Stupid bitches.
But Chris Hardwick, he wants to go check out this Dr. Satan myth, so there's just stupid trees, so Captain Spaulding draws him a little map and tells him he shouldn't go there, and they take off to go there anyway, and the one girl calls her papa, says they're going to be late, and then it's pouring rain, and there's this hot blonde girl in like a peach-colored cowboy hat,
all right,
standing out looking for a ride. Like, is that your first clue that something's wrong in backwoods USA, It just blew my mind. First of all, everyone, do not pick up hitchhikers, okay? I don't care if they look like Sherry Moon. Okay, maybe if they look like Sherry Moon, but I just wanted to touch base on that because I just thought that was ridiculous. Like, there's no way that my wife ain't gonna let me pick up no hot chick with her thumb out in the road. I don't care what the circumstances are. But anyway, that crew, led by Chris Hardwick, Jerry, just make very, very poor choices there several times, and then it's too late for him to backtrack from there.
Very much so. It's kind of weird how Captain Spaulding, he drew them the map, he told them not to go. It's stupid. Captain Spaulding almost seems like a decent guy in this film. Like, I mean, he kills... somebody's trying to rob you.
Right.
I mean, he fucking killed him and shit, but... It's interesting that he had the conversation with the guy. He was kind of like, why are you asking so many jackassy questions?
You feel like they could have left if they would have left it well enough alone.
Yeah,
I probably agree with you
exactly.
On that. Yeah,
it's like he was trying to get them to fucking leave.
And that could be that whole area could be forced because they don't want to get killed themselves by the Driftwood family. I don't remember if they make ties. Are they brothers? I think
we talked about this in Devil's Rejects,
right,
because
I think they make a mention or something about
Baby and Otis are brother sister, and then she calls Captain Spaulding Daddy a lot, and there was a lot of stipulation that maybe he was their dad,
right?
But we weren't sure. And then because in this one they have a grandpa, so is Spaulding in between there somewhere?
Right.
And why doesn't he live with them?
Right. That's very, very valid.
And in the second one, he doesn't really have anything to do with them in the beginning either. They just show up.
Yeah, you're right, because they show up needing his help, basically. Yeah. So maybe I'm thinking maybe he is their dad, and he's like, okay, I gotta do what I gotta do. But you're right, he comes off as somebody that would kill you without a moment's notice, but
at the same time, like just leave me the fuck alone. At the same time,
clowns.
Yeah, I've got some super secret clown business. I'm gonna be needing your car. I don't know, Captain Spaulding. I think he's the best part of House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay, fair enough.
Same thing with the sequel, and it's kind of cool getting it. I don't like jumping ahead to the trivia, but Sid Haig talks about this film as kind of his resurgence into the acting world. Mm-hmm. Sid Haig, huge in like the 60s, 70s. He did a lot of movies with oh my gosh, who is the blaxploitation female? Tarantino talks about her a lot. Pam Grier.
Yeah.
Sid Haig did like a bunch of films with her in the 60s, 70s.
Okay, I did not know that.
He was always in a lot of like those kind of like films like this, Grindhouse-y, but I think he was pretty popular.
Okay.
And then he kind of faded out. He was still doing work. He's been working since he was like a baby.
Right.
And but this was kind of his big resurgence back into more popular films. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody knew it at the time with Rob Zombie and what was going to come with him.
Right.
But by like Devil's Rejects and stuff, it was like House of a Thousand Corpses really threw me back into the limelight. So that's, I don't know, House of a Thousand Corpses. For Rob Zombie's first film, mm-hmm. Have you seen all of Rob Zombie's stuff?
Oh my God. I think there's one I have yet to see, but the movie 31, have you seen that? I love that movie.
I haven't. I haven't watched it.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet? When we're done, what do you got? No, that'll be the next one. And I haven't looked at the Rotten Tomatoes on that, but that movie is...
I bought it on Blu-ray.
It's back more, it's way more like House of a Thousand Corpses. It's very, very cosplay, like very, very like Victorian, like long wig, dress up, powdered makeup, and blood, and creepy clowns, and crazy masks, and it's basically like a torture. It's like a giant factory or some giant building that they've turned into this torture chamber, and it's a game called 31, and you have 12 hours to live, and I'm not quite sure why they call it 31, I don't remember, but there's all sorts of different rooms of joy, if you will, and it follows all these people, including Sherry Moon Zombie, who's not babies, it's a completely different situation, right. But just trying to live for the 12 hours. Yeah.
So they just lure people into the house.
Yeah, some crazy game that rich people play, yeah.
Oh, so like, do they bet on it then, or like, what's going on?
I think there is wagers. There's just a bunch of old people that are all dressed up like it's a Hunger Games, like Elizabeth Elizabeth Banks, all dressed up like that, and like, welcome to the game, 31. You have 12 hours to live. The prize, your life. It's really weird.
Who's the host? Is it somebody like
nobody? Just some guy with makeup on,
Sid Haig?
Yeah, not Sid Haig. In fact, I don't remember anybody other than Sherry Moon that's in that. Although there's plenty of people in masks that you never see their faces, so I would be surprised if there's. And then, what's the other movie? Is it Salem?
Lords of Salem.
Lords of Salem. That I need to see that. I have not seen that. I want to see it.
I don't know why I had this in my head, but I always thought Lords of Salem was like around Halloween, like 2007, 2008.
It's always around Halloween.
It's well, I mean, like the year it was released.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
thought it was like 08, 07, somewhere in there. It's 2012.
Yeah, it was just
just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That's another one that I have.
You have it?
I just haven't.
I really want to see that.
It's a lot more difficult now with the little shits running around
and
stuff. So I can't like just turn it on whenever I want.
Well, not that. No.
Right. Like this, I had to wait till I fell asleep last night, so I watched this at like 10:30 last night.
Okay. No.
So.
And the Halloween remake that Roger did, I don't like that movie. I'll just keep it real. I'm not a fan. Not really a fan of Michael Myers at all, weirdly enough.
I like I like how he makes and presents films.
Soundtrack's obviously awesome.
Right. But like Halloween. Like even if you don't really care for it, like just the way that he makes it, and like how he has like Ken Foree in a small role. He brings Sherry Moon Zombie in. It's like just the people that Malcolm McDowell, just the people that he sees as like inspirations and stuff. It's like that's what makes it cool.
Right, I got you.
Aside from the actual like Michael Myers story.
Yeah, true that.
It's how he does it. Same thing with
there's another one?
The one after this. Devil's Rejects. I don't know why I just had a fart there. But like everybody that he has in there. Ken Foree's in that one too.
Yep.
And oh man. Hills Have Eyes guy.
Oh shit! Don't make me think of names real fast.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
I do. Yep.
The chicken fucker.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fuck these chickens.
You think I'm gonna fuck these chickens?
I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. But just more of like that. It's the same thing kind of Tarantino does, how he brings his old inspirations, people that
he's got his posse.
Yeah.
Yeah, his crew of people that you'll see and everything, just like Adam Sandler does, you know, and yeah.
Well, yeah, those are like his friends, though.
Right. Well, maybe these are Rob Zombie's friends.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, now, but like a lot of them, like Sid Haig, like he probably watched him on TV when he was a kid,
sure,
or something.
Right.
You know, like,
okay, I get what you're saying. Like people that he idolized or
right. Yeah. Like when he was younger, or even just growing up.
Right. I need you in this movie. I love you. You know. Yeah.
Right. And like as Tarantino was coming up, seeing people like Harvey Keitel and stuff like that, and then being able to bring them back and be in his own film, like that's what I think is super cool. Is Rob Zombie is a guy who. He's not just a director-writer. He's a guy who loves film.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what makes films like this so much more special. Like, if House of a Thousand Corpses was another one of those one-off director-writers, what are the chances that we would care?
I wouldn't have gave a shit. I probably would have ended up finding it because I'm a fan of these types of movies, and I still would have enjoyed it. But first of all, the soundtrack wouldn't have been the same.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't see anybody else that could put together quite like that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think that it would have gotten any. There's no way anybody would have ever heard of it. Not on the. I mean, most people, this is way too much for them. This is like half of, maybe 60% of the world would be like, oh, this is too much blood for me. I can't handle it.
Right. To sum up what I'm trying to say, I think it's just when you see a film that's made by a person who loves film.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference in quality and just it just sticks out.
Right on.
I keep comparing it with Tarantino, but Tarantino is a huge film lover.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's just little nuances or little things that they're like, oh, they took that from that movie. Stuff like that. I think it's super cool. I had a moment in this film where I genuinely kind of jumped.
Okay.
And it's cool because this movie doesn't rely on like a lot of jump scares.
No.
It's more just creepy and shit that gets under your skin. But there was a moment, she's downstairs in the basement and Tiny is like slurping cereal.
He did offer it to her first.
Right.
It must have been chocolate milk or Cocoa Pebbles or something.
It was gross.
I wanted to just make it just cut
in the dog food thing.
Yeah, Agatha Crispies. That was what I just love that. Agatha Crispies. Like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
It's awesome.
Anyway,
I wonder if that. I'm not saying that it probably wasn't a cereal, but I bet that was like a Rob Zombie creation, maybe.
Yeah, Agatha Christie. Who is Agatha Christie? I kind of meant to touch on that before.
Like the novels. She's like a novelist.
Okay.
With a lot of like thriller mystery stuff.
Okay. Well, it must be. It's got to be something that he must have liked her or something.
Right. Sorry. It might have, we got Count Chocula, so I wonder if, that was an actual cereal. Right. But if it was something that he threw in there just, as a little touch, I think that's super cool.
It has to be.
But, it's set in, the 70s, so it could have very much been
1977.
77?
Yep.
Could have been a cereal. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I didn't look that far into it.
It'd be hilarious if there was Agatha Christie.
But, yeah, so they're in the basement, and Matthew McGrory is great. We talked about him in Devil's Rejects. He passed shortly after. So it's kind of a bummer that I think maybe his most popular film is Big Fish.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that he left behind films like this and Devil's Rejects and stuff to go along with it.
Right.
Because I don't know, it'd been cool to see him in some like Tarantino or some Eli Roth film or something.
There you go.
So that's kind of a bummer, but I'll always remember him as Tiny.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, in that basement, she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go home now."
Yeah.
Okay, bye. I'm just gonna go. And she gets to the top of the stairs, and Otis comes down. Where the fuck are you going?
Yeah.
Throws her in that like little makeshift cage.
Yeah.
Slams the door, and it's like just pillows, blankies, and everything. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then you get like blanket people to come out, and I was like,
"What the hell was that?"
I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, they never explains that.
No,
it's like,
at all. It's just
it's
just there.
Yeah,
it creeped the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the first time I saw this. It was after Devil's Rejects, so it's been between, probably 2006 and last year. I don't remember when I watched it. So I didn't remember a lot of it, but I definitely didn't remember that.
Yeah, I didn't either. In fact, I remember I had that stored in my head to mention because it was like, at first you think, was it the cheerleaders that aren't dead yet? But why would they be attacking her? They,
right.
What the heck is that?
No,
that's like a personal touch on the supernatural thing, I think, and it's. At the very end, when they put him in the coffin and put him down in the water, and they drop down the lantern that has the creepy, right. And then things come popping out, and they rip up, and then they just go back under the water. It's like the same. Maybe those are the same. Maybe those are the pillow people. They just took the pillows off and they were taking a bath or something.
Pillow people.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is going to be a complete shift, but
that's what happens in the show, right?
Clerks 2.
Yeah.
Pillow pants.
Yeah.
It's my girlfriend's pussy troll. Your girlfriend doesn't have a pussy troll? Pillow pants. Pillow people. I don't know. That just reminded me of that. I watched too many movies.
Abrupt shift there.
Yes.
Yeah. That scared the crap out of you.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. Definitely was not expecting that at all.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about this film. It's a horror film, and it doesn't rely on those cheap jump scares. Mm-hmm. So, like, what specifically creeps you out and kind of defines this as a horror film to you? Obviously, I mean, it's a psychotic family killing people. But what, like the pillow people, what genuinely, gets under your skin that's not a jump scare, but still scares you?
Anything to do with knives and the knife play, the cutting, the surgery stuff, nothing. I watch too much of this stuff, so nothing really scares the crap out of me.
Right. You just think about how did they do that?
It's more the words and the way they're presented that give me the spine tingles. Like when Baby, basically every time she opens her mouth and says something, it creeps me the hell out.
Right.
Or when Otis has his little. His theatrics, right, and it happens basically every time he opens his mouth, and it does in the Devil's Rejects too. But it's more that it's more of a creepy it's just the way
more
it's
of the performances.
Yeah, and I don't like knives and the cutting, and just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Really?
Yeah, but nothing's real shocking to me anymore. In the
right.
Yeah.
Especially when I watch. Otis wear the skin suit, which seems to be a thing for him.
Oh my God, I did feel that. If you feel the sorrow of the girl of Denise, I believe is her name.
I think so.
Yeah. When here comes Daddy, and I was gonna write down his little poem as he's walking down, but he's like, give Daddy a kiss, and it's like, oh my God, you are you bring torture to a whole new level. You took people that were innocent, and you didn't just kill them. You're
right.
You're gonna melt their souls and their brains before you do.
That's the thing too. Towards the end, when she's running down that tunnel and the big axe guy, and you see she's at the end of the tunnel and he comes around the corner. And I'm like, how much I would rather just be shot right now.
Right. Yeah. Then he takes off his little breathing apparatus and spits this green. That's kind of what's coming out of my mouth right now too. Yeah, it's gross, isn't it? Cutie.
But yeah, I guess my dog my my dog got in the garbage last week.
Oh, gross!
And he threw up. And we got home. I picked up my daughter. She's in 3-year-old preschool. Mm-hmm. We walked in the house, and I was like, "What kind of stinks in here?" And she walks into the living room, and there's the puddle of puke, and she just goes, "Ugh."
Of course she did.
It was just, that reminded me. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
You didn't follow suit?
Well, I just...
enough of it by now?
Yeah, I'm used to it. It's dog vomit. Yeah. He's gotten in the garbage before, but just, I thought it smelled funny. And she walked in, she goes, ugh. It's funnier when a 3-year-old does it too. There's nothing funnier.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so I guess I kind of draw the line with you about blades, axes, stuff like that. I just can't imagine being stabbed to death in the chest 20 times, my baby.
The worst thing I would
choking on your own blood. Yeah, just shoot me or
right.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, that's probably what. And like you said, though, the performances of them. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of actors across any genre that could pull it off like these people do.
I know it. Yeah,
I feel like
the right blend of people that could to play it off perfectly.
They really own these roles.
Yeah.
Can't imagine anybody else as Otis Spaulding or Baby.
No, God, no, or Captain Spaulding. Otis Driftwood.
Right.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong though. As far as being scared, if ghost movies, paranormal movies, angel demon movies with lots of dark jump scares, scared the crap out of me.
Really?
The movie, Sinister with Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
That is my favorite scary movie in the past 10 years, but it's like basically the only rated R one, which means Anyway, that movie. I just got goosebumps just thinking about it. That movie scares the crap out of me.
Really?
Because it's kids that are doing this shit. It's spine tingling, scares me. But this movie doesn't scare me at all. I think it's awesome because it's just gory and like I said before, it's like it's teetering on the edge of a serial killer or just a straight grindhouse movie,
right.
Gore fest kind of,
Especially with films like this. I kind of mentioned it earlier, but like towards the end, you see Chris Hardwick sitting there, and he's got his head folded down, and they're drilling into his brain and shit. And I'm to the point now where it's just like, I can see how they did that. He probably has like a bald cap on, and then they have what do you call it? The molding, the liquid plastic mold stuff.
Right.
I can't remember what it's called for the life of me right now.
Oh God, don't put me on the spot either.
But they form that and make like little flaps, and that's all I think about now. It's like, oh shit, I'm trying to watch the movie.
I watch Face Off. Why would I not know what that's called? A cowl? You can make a mask.
Oh right, yeah, like Batman's cowl.
Yeah,
I'm talking like what's
I know I can't remember what it's called either. But I watched Face Off, the show on Sci-Fi. Where they were making stage makeup and costumes and stuff. So I should know what it's called too. But
rubber latex.
Oh, duh.
Or something like liquid latex or liquid something. Yeah.
And they got a little blood pouch in there too, or whatever. And
then they run it down their back, and some guy's off screen just pumping the shit out of it.
Right. But how they make it look real is beyond me. That's always
dark lights.
See, that's where you diving deeper and deeper into what you love. That you can look at it more from that perspective.
I think I didn't write any of the I wrote trivia down, but I didn't see anything about this. I think a lot of it was, aside from being practical effects, I think a lot of it he did in like 70s, 80s style. Mm-hmm. And so like he did the methods that you would in Friday the 13th or something like that. So I think that really adds to it too. I think there is some CG. But I think it's more of like touch-ups and it's not a lot, if any. I think maybe that my scene that I was talking about with the smoke, maybe that's CG.
Right, I don't know. It just seems like it's slow. They slow it down.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think you're right. I think it was probably important to him to keep to that method because that was his intro to to the movie world, and he wanted to showcase what he loved most about movies.
Definitely. There's a this kind of tickled me. There's a Jimmy Olsen reference.
Okay.
Somebody calls Jerry Jimmy Olsen because he's trying to investigate too much and stuff. It's like the Firefly family is reading Superman comics, or what the fuck? How do they know?
Right.
Well, they must be reading some kind of comics because Tiny is dressed up like Superman, kind of.
Yeah, they love.
He looks like a superhero.
I feel like, and I've seen this enough times, I just haven't paid that much attention. But I bet there's tons of references that you don't see because that house is full of treasures. So is Captain Spaulding's place. It's full of it, and they scan all. You see a lot of weird stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of references like that. Agatha Christie's, which I'm definitely going to look into when we're done here to see if it was indeed like put there. But yeah.
Running in a bunny outfit. It's just creepy. I don't know. There was something else I was going to mention about the car. They mention there's how many cheerleaders do they say are missing?
There's 5.
5, right?
There's 5.
And we do see them all?
She has the 3 at the beginning with Otis. It was a little speech. And the first, 20 minutes when they're sitting there on the bed, all scared to death. Then maybe 15, 20 minutes later when Baby's getting ready to go sing her little boop-doop song.
Okay.
The one's dead already. And
right.
She's like, you guys ain't fucking cheered me up since you got here.
Right.
Yeah.
And then one of those is the one in the trunk?
The one that's dead already, I think, is the one in the trunk.
Oh, okay. So there's the 3
that
Otis has, and then there's a dead one and a live one
in Baby's room.
In Baby's room,
because she's messing with that girl, and she's like, "Say it, that's right." And then they scan.
Oh yeah,
and
B.
They look over.
A,
yeah.
B, Y. What's that spell?
What's that spell? And then they scan over with the like how it kind of expands but backs up at the same time, or it goes. I don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then there's that like she's like blue and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning of Devil's Rejects, Otis has that one tied to his bed.
Yeah.
Is that the same cheerleader?
Yeah, it probably is. I'm telling you, it picked up literally like the next day. I think it was the next day. Because how could you, after everything that they did that night,
and they found the car.
Yeah, how could you make it another day? There's 2 cops missing. There's an ex-cop missing. There's too many people. They started a big fire. There's no way that they're not going to be on them. Like, how long are cops missing before?
Right, yeah. How long does it...
You know what I mean? So I feel like it was the next, just literally hours later.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. If that's true, that would make it so much cooler.
It does make it cooler because that again, the stark contrast, the movie styles played off each other in real time. Like, this is how one ends, this is where one begins, and we're just going to completely shift, our focus.
The only thing that I didn't really... I mean, this is... we're led to believe this is supernatural.
Well, it kind of has to be, doesn't it? Look at them people that come out of the muck and the coffins and stuff.
Right, yeah, so it is.
Yeah, it has to be.
Are they aware of it? The Firefly family?
Oh yeah, well yeah, I think that's You want to meet Dr. Satan? Here, I'll have you meet him, and like at the end.
But isn't that more of like a scare tactic?
I don't know.
Isn't he just fucking with them?
Well, that's kind of
Or does
he obviously wasn't fucking with them because there's. I mean, look at Dr. Satan. Like it was like he was like he's a million years old. Like he was had like a robot like moving his hands for him and stuff. Like was doing like there's no way that was a live. Are we supposed to believe that was a live human?
No. But does Otis and everybody actually know that they're down there, or are they just putting these people in a well?
No, they're putting them down in the coffin so they can go meet Dr. Satan. I mean, I feel like that's why. Okay. The combination of the creepy incantations that he sends down on a lantern, combined with the fact that he's dressed in like a priest garb at the end with the makeup on, his hair's all straightened and white, and they are out there where there's all basically their graveyard of people that they've killed or whatever, and they light the fire, and I don't know if you noticed that was a pentagram that they light the fire, and it was a pentagram, and so I feel like they were maybe they were, in a way, summoning Dr. Satan. They're bringing him to life, like he's down there, like dormant until they give them some fresh meat and play some creepy music and light a fire. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I felt about it.
Okay, but my question, I guess, is they're right, like they're doing the ritual to like summon him. They're
or maybe
they play
do every Saturday. I don't know. You
well,
know what I mean?
no, I like they're doing that for sure, but are they actually aware that they are literally summoning demons, or are they just like in their mind they're like goth kids that just like are like, oh, we're gonna say Bloody Mary 3 times? Like, are they just doing that, or do they like actually know that they are demons? Because I don't think the Firefly family ever physically sees a dead thing rise up. It's always the other people.
They don't. That's yeah. You dove way deep into it, I guess.
I think it's, I don't know.
I never looked at it like that. They were just dropping them into a hole, and then they were going to go home and go to bed. Like,
well, yeah.
What's gonna happen
they're putting him in the hole, and they think that they're summoning him.
Right.
But are they aware that they actually are demons?
Maybe just Otis is. Maybe just Otis knows and nobody else knows. I don't know. I don't.
Like, do they even know that those tunnels are down there?
I just feel like they're all batshit crazy.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Maybe they don't. Maybe all that was a figment of their imaginations at the end too. I mean, who knows? I don't know. I would feel like if there were demons in my backyard, I would know about them.
Would you?
I would.
But I mean, that well, the well goes pretty deep, and then all the tunnels are underneath.
Right.
So, I mean, and they're just down there hanging out.
And do they have to buy a new coffin every time they do that, you know? Because the things rip it open.
Exactly.
Like, wouldn't they know if they pulled the coffin up to put more people in it? Right. What happened to our coffin?
It's like in Jurassic Park, they send the cow down for the goat, and they pull it back up. Oh, now we gotta get a new stretcher.
See? Like, what happened to it happened again, guys.
Exactly. So, like, they must, but do they pull it up? Well, they must too. I don't know.
Look at all the damn gravestones, man. It's not the first time. That wasn't like their intro. It was like murder. Like, that was...
This isn't an origin story.
This is not my first time, I promise.
I don't know. I thought the whole thing was
weird.
Because the contrast between House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects is the supernatural and thriller.
Right.
But I mean, the supernatural, I don't know if they know.
I'll be totally honest with you. I could do without the last 15 minutes of that movie, because it does. You can. Those pillow people can just be something that just is a thought that just goes away, and you don't even worry about it. And that's the only thing up until the next 20 minutes or so where it just gets weird. Where I just would have been cool with them just continuing to be the creepy, sadistic murderers that they are.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Because then that's where it kind of tails into some questions, but. That would be my only gripe. It's not like I don't like it still, but it just kind of got weird for me there. It does make you question.
I think that can explain kind of that smooth transition between the two films.
Right.
Is in the sequel, it's like they don't mention it. They don't talk about supernatural stuff.
It's over. They're just on the run because they killed a bunch of people.
Well, yeah. That's right. But I mean, oh man, not so. Okay, here we go.
Pick it up.
So, talking about not like the actual film characters, the story, and everything.
Yeah.
House of a Thousand Corpses, fantasy, summoning demons and stuff. Second one, straight, not worrying about the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the smooth transition, why a lot of people don't even notice, I think it works because the Firefly family aren't aware of the supernatural. And so in the second one, they're the same people, but they don't know about the creepy tunnels and shit.
Yeah, look at it like that.
I don't know, it's strange.
Yeah. It's definitely it's left it's like an unsolved mystery like that.
Definitely, yes.
Because like you said, the Devil's Rejects is nothing like it. It's here's the storyline. We murdered some people. We're on the run. We got to kidnap some people to keep us safe. And while we're at it, we might as well just make another mask out of somebody's skin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I don't know. And it was more to be like let's just go out like Bonnie and Clyde style eventually. Like I don't know what their end game was. We got to get out of here. And then it was
YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO. Right, exactly. So I don't know. Yeah.
But there is the new one, the 3 from Hell.
That's right. That's right. When does that come out? Forgot about that.
This next year, 2019, I think.
All right, that's coming up.
So I wonder if that's going to go back into supernatural kind of stuff. Maybe that will be our answer.
I don't know. It looks like from what the very little I've seen from it looks like they're showing their mug shots. I've seen pictures. All three of them,
right, yeah, they did post that.
But don't they get shot 1,000,000 times at the end of Devil's Rejects though? So that's why I'm confused. Maybe it's a prequel. Maybe it's because how else did they explain the end of Devil's Rejects?
Oh man!
And then they just get shot 1,000,000 times. So there's no way they could be a sequel. Now that we're talking about it, how could it be?
They're fine. Couple stitches.
It was just they were
flesh wound.
It's just really a flesh wound.
All those bullets just grazed.
That's a very valid point. I'm interested to see how they go with that.
What if it's set before House of a Thousand Corpses?
It almost has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, if Devil's Rejects takes place a day after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ooh.
And they're definitely dead at the end of it. So.
Wow, are they?
Yes.
There's supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Well, or is there?
Are there mug shots though in the realm of the supernatural? You know what I mean?
Beetlejuice.
Okay. Oh, very well. Very valid point. Valid point. Just sprinkle that stuff.
I don't even.
Head shrivel
now. So before I get into like trivia and stuff, was there any like final thoughts? Anything else you wanted to talk about with House of a Thousand Corpses? Any other scenes? Any other?
I thought we'd touch on the classy establishment that Baby and her brother stopped in for liquor. It was called Red Hot Pussy Liquor.
Yeah.
She comes in wearing the chaps with nothing there. Look, cheek chillers.
Yeah.
And she comes in wearing the chaps. And his name's thanks Goober. It's actually Greg Ober, but they put an O in there. Oh, that's a good story, Goober.
Exactly.
Thank you for visiting Red Hot Pussy Liquor. Thank you. That
was such a strange scene to have in there.
It's so weird. Weird.
But I like there was a couple of like little clips, like the guy outside his little tiny shack talking about I know the truth. Mm-hmm. It was just like. It didn't have to be in there.
That was just another one of those weird cuts where it comes to, it was just randomly.
I like it though.
Yeah, I do too. I
don't know. That's interesting.
I forgot about that part with that.
Yeah,
for no reason.
Yeah,
random guy just talking about you got to look for hell. We're in hell. We're in hell.
This is hell. I know that. Yeah. I know the truth.
Yeah, and that is the main reason for my love of this movie is all the cuts. I like crazy cut scenes and creepy music, and the undertones is what gives me the heebie-jeebies. Yeah.
Final thoughts. I would just say that for a first outing for a director and a writer, I think this film is near perfect. I think. For like your first try, I'm not saying it's a perfect film,
right?
But for your first time out, it's damn good.
I think it's fantastic.
And it's 65% of people agree with us, so we're right.
Clearly.
I guess my first experience, I did write it down. I don't know the year, but I bought this DVD after Devil's Rejects at like a pawn shop for $1.
Okay.
And so. The first time I saw this was like $1 DVD. I remember watching, I don't know when, but I remember being very confused. And even watching it again now, I feel like I need to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, it's a weird movie.
It's not that it's like a brain teaser or anything.
No, there's just some things that you get
so much
chalk up that you just can't explain.
Yeah, there's just so much stuff that happens. Mm-hmm. So much like those quick cuts and everything, and
all the content, all the shit you see on the wall.
Yeah,
like the creepy dead baby heads. Oh, when I was a kid, I like take these and I cut their limbs off and I stick them up on the wall.
He just stands there like, yeah.
And then she goes away and he's looking at all of them and it's like,
oh my god, yeah. It's like Jason was gonna come out.
Yeah.
It's just
it's weird.
It's very strange. But another thing that's cool is going back and seeing 2003, Rainn Wilson, Chris Hardwick, Walton Goggins. This was like right after Shanghai Nights for or Shanghai Noon. Mm-hmm. Walton Goggins was a bad guy in that. There's a lot of great, and then bringing back like Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, who have been in the game forever.
Right.
This was his wife's first film. So his first film, her first film.
Right. And I knew that too.
That's crazy.
And I love her.
She did really good.
God, Sherry Moon Zombie. I love her.
That's your woman.
No. Kim Reese is my woman. But anyway, I didn't mention that Grandpa, and I didn't write down his name, but he died in 2002. So he died before this movie even came out.
Yeah. I've got some. There's some trivia about the dates with this film and filming and stuff like that. So you want to get into some trivia?
Let's do it.
All right. There wasn't a whole lot, but I did get some. So this film was actually made in 2000.
And I did not know that. That's crazy. It took them 3 years.
Yeah, and then it wasn't released until 03. There wasn't anything about like if it was budget, or I think a lot of it had to do with Universal not wanting to put it out because of all the
they weren't ready yet.
Yeah, they weren't ready.
Yeah, they weren't ready.
And off of that, originally it was NC-17, but it had to be cut down to R.
I'm definitely not surprised, but there is not a lot of boob. Which, okay, you get a lot of boob in these types of movies, where there's no boob in this movie, so maybe that's what they cut out to make it an R movie. I don't know.
There's a couple boobs.
A little bit.
But the footage that they cut has never been released.
Really?
So whatever they cut from the NC-17 to R, nobody knows. Directorial debut of Rob Zombie. Just talked about that. Zombie had to shoot several scenes, most of the film, twice, without gore and without boobs, essentially.
Really?
To appease Universal, so they could kind of pick and choose what they wanted to get that R rating.
That makes sense then.
Rob Zombie is aware of the cult following for this film, but admits he is not too fond of it.
I'm not surprised.
He talks about how when he watches it now, all he sees is flaws. He should have done this, should have done that.
He picks himself apart, like I
first-time director, stuff like that. So that was most of the film. And then you mentioned Grandpa. I forgot to write his name. But they filmed it in 2000, and he was suffering. He had heart disease, stuff like that going on, which is why a lot of the scenes he's sitting. He was weak, couldn't stand much. And in 2002, before this was released, he passed, so he didn't even get to see it.
Now, he must have been obviously somebody that Rob had a lot of respect for.
Right.
Like we were talking about before, that's probably why he wanted him to be in it, and that's probably why he was in it. Well, one thing I will say is that Rob Zombie, I've watched interviews with him. Like he's one of the people that define like looks aren't everything. You know, don't judge people by first impression, because he's really a solid dude. Like he has a husband and he's a dad and he's an everyday guy that goes out and buys groceries and and then he's Rob Zombie. So like he's a sick, twisted dude, but he would never do that to anybody in real life. So it's like if you see people doing that, it's like, come on, people, I did this because I love movies like this. Like, let's calm down with that shit. So that's kind of where he's at on that.
It's kind of like seeing interviews with like Alice Cooper or something. Like without the makeup, without the music, he's just
articulate, well spoken.
Yeah, I like to go golfing on Sundays and Mondays we have dinner at home. What the fuck?
I play bridge on Sundays.
Yeah, exactly. Nice warm cup of tea. It's like, what? Come on. So that's there was a lot of trivia, but a lot of it was very it made $500 a year. It's like I don't care about the budget,
right?
Really, it had a relatively small budget. I think this film was made for like $7 million,
which blows my mind. And they almost tripled that in the box office. Surprisingly, I think what I saw, would they do almost $20 million?
I don't know. I didn't look.
I think it was like $18 million, which is surprising for a movie of this nature.
Yeah,
yeah,
very much so. I mean, that's why I got a sequel, though.
Right.
I wonder how much he got to work with for that. I wonder if they upped it a little bit, or...
Right.
Because it's, I don't know. Was, Devil's Rejects Universal? Or I wonder if he, like, switched distributors.
I think it was different. I don't think it was.
I wonder if he...
I don't remember what it was, but...
I don't remember either.
That's such an edgy movie. Devil's Rejects. I mean, that's basically... There's nothing. They just need to film them driving, and then scenes. I mean, there's really nothing. I don't think that movie could have cost a whole lot. They're driving. They're at a hotel. They're basically in that area for the rest of the movie. I mean, then they're it's
in a car, in
right.
a van, in
right.
a car.
Right.
Oh, that was something. I didn't write it down, but I was reading a lot of the scenes, like the cut scenes with Bill Moseley and Baby and stuff that they shot. Those were shot after production in Rob Zombie's basement.
No shit.
Handheld on his own camera.
To give it that look, too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And then those shots were added after. So that's cool, too. That's something that, like, that's what I would do. Mm-hmm. I would... Yeah, we can do that in my basement. We don't need to make a set.
Really? We can?
So, House of a Thousand Corpses, 2003, the sequel, or the prequel to Devil's Rejects, kind of did these out of order, but in my 4th episode, I didn't know I'd be doing this for over a year.
Right.
So, I was kind of picking and choosing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, now it's just like, pick a movie, let's go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
awesome. I'm glad to be the one to tie these two together. Maybe years down the road we'll do
the 3 from Hell. Yeah.
31 maybe too if you watch it.
Yeah. Oh. Lords of Salem too. I don't know. There's a bunch of those that I need to watch.
Absolutely.
I want to.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to add before I kind of close it up?
No, I think I've covered everything. I just I thank you for bearing with me. I've had a couple coughing fits. I'm battling some sickness, but I'm here for my guy and for a t-shirt too, maybe. Yeah. So that was here's the deal. Brian is trying to get a t-shirt. I told him if we get 500 views, I'll buy him a t-shirt. So our most, I think, was Rambo. That got almost 2,000 views. We've had some that are 2. So it's like anywhere between there. So let's get Brian 500 views. Like, share, do all that stuff. Get him a t-shirt. I want a t-shirt.
And we'll get him in one of those. So Shut Up, I Like This. We're on Twitter, Facebook. Shut Up, I Like This. PantheonNetwork.com. Find all the videos, everything on there. Check out Indie Gamer Magazine. My magazine's in December will be the 5th issue.
It's a fantastic magazine, by the way.
Still going strong on that.
Absolutely. I love everything you're doing, man.
Working on the book, telling you guys about. Yeah, I don't know.
You got a lot of stuff going on, though, man.
Yeah, I know.
Like
there's
said,
a bunch of shit.
It's so crazy from the very first time that we did that movie with no video, with just audio. Like, this is before. Yeah, it's come a long way, man. It's
no
cool.
Shit.
It's fun.
It's a lot of work. No, it's been fun though. I'm really glad. I couldn't believe when we got to a year.
Yeah.
A lot's changed.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. So we'll have to have you back again.
Yes.
Do something else. I've got a big Google Doc list full of films and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I'll be here next week. I am every week. I don't know who will be here.
I'm Kyle. I'm not, but yeah.
Yeah, you like those little name templates now.
Yeah, that's just the progression of things, especially with that cut that you did. Like, it's awesome. How far you've come. Big time. Big timer. Okay, yeah, well, I don't have anything in this, but I'm going to simulate. Pretty awesome, man.
So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Shut Up I Like This from the Pantheon Network studio. See you next week. Have a good one.